Now it's 4:30 on WKYT this morning. We have some more information now about what caused a school bus to wreck last night in Rowan County.
After refusing to issue marriage licenses, a federal judge held Kim Davis in contempt of court yesterday. Now the attention shifts back to Rowan County.
And Lexington firefighters are still trying to figure out what led to an equipment malfunction while they were putting out a house fire on Thursday.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you and welcome in on your Friday that leads right into Labor Day weekend. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith, and let's get a look at how this Friday is going to be looking weather-wise with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
I'll tell you what, guys, we've locked into more of a summer-like feel here in September. Normally, we'd be trying to cool things off. September is always one of those volatile months where it goes back and forth, though. Even out there this morning, we are running, let me get my own clicker here, running in the 70s and upper 60s in many cases out there, so a pretty solid start to the morning. Now, as we progress through the day, what you're going to see is more of that heat building in. We likely get up to right around 90 degrees for daytime highs today. And this is going to be an area-wide thing with those upper 80s, low 90s. So again, nothing you would think of when you think of September weather with daytime highs like this. And that heat's going to stick around into the weekend. Throw in a few scattered showers and storms, and you do have a true summer pattern. We'll take a look at all of it coming up for you here in just a few minutes.
More summer to go. Thank you.
This morning we have some new information about a school bus that was involved in a crash in Rowan County yesterday.
State police say it happened shortly before 10 o'clock last night on Cranston Road north of Moorhead. They say the school bus was returning from a basketball game in Lewis County when the driver lost control because of heavy fog. Investigators say the bus sideswiped a bridge and went down an embankment. That bus was carrying 18 students and 2 adults. Police say one student was taken to St. Clair Medical Center with minor injuries. They say no other vehicles were involved.
Well, a federal judge told her to issue marriage licenses or go to jail. So Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis chose jail.
And now she is in the Carter County Detention Center. This is the mugshot taken when she was booked into jail. During a hearing at the federal courthouse in Ashland yesterday, Davis told Judge David Bunning that issuing licenses to same-sex couples would violate her conscience. So the judge held her in contempt of court, saying he did not make the decision lightly, but that her faith was not a viable defense. All but one of Davis's deputy clerks later told the judge they will issue marriage licenses. The lone holdout is her son. Judge Bunning then offered Davis a compromise that she could be released from custody if she would not interfere with her deputies. But Davis still refused and was taken to jail. The couples who sued Davis say they will waste no time trying to get a marriage license in Rowan County. Davis's attorneys claim it is the first time that an American has been jailed for believing in their conscience.
We're going to the courthouse tomorrow to get our marriage license. We're very excited about that.
She may be jailed behind bars, but her conscience remains free, and she's not going to violate her conscience.
Davis's attorneys say the judge's order would keep her in jail indefinitely. But Judge Bunning said that he will revisit his decision in a week to give the deputy clerks time to comply with his order for them to issue marriage licenses. The Rowan County Clerk's office is expected to be open today. WKYT's Garrett Weimer has the latest from Rowan County.
With all eyes on the federal courthouse in Ashland, it was relatively quiet here at the Rowan County Courthouse. But when the clerk's office inside opens up, 5 deputy clerks are expected to start issuing marriage licenses while their boss, Kim Davis, is in jail. When the vans carrying Kim Davis pulled in at the Carter County Detention Center, it was just a matter of seconds before the Sallyport doors quickly closed behind them.
My job is to keep the door locked until the judge tells me to unlock it. As far as we're concerned, it's, another day in the neighborhood.
But for many, it was much more than that.
We thank you, Lord God, that she kept her conscience clean before you.
A group of supporters calling Davis a hero gathered outside the jail waiting on her to arrive. They held signs on Main Street, then circled up in prayer in front of the detention center.
We are here to encourage Kim Davis. She's our sister in the Lord. She believes the Bible like us.
It's unclear how long Davis could be here, but while she is, the jailer says she'll be treated like any other inmate and she'll do what the other inmates do.
It's a day in jail, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and, daily activities. It's not, glamorous, it's not exciting, and, it's jail.
Even with Kim Davis in jail in Carter County, the focus will again shift here when the clerk's office opens up at 8 a.m. In Rowan County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
And legal experts say they expect Davis and her attorneys to challenge the judge's contempt of court order that sent her to jail. Scott Boris of the UK College of Law says judges have issued contempt of court orders before in cases where officials didn't comply with orders that stop segregation or housing discrimination. But he says this case is unique.
In this case, holding this particular county clerk in contempt is a little unprecedented. I looked for situations like this before, and I couldn't find any precisely like this for failure to issue marriage licenses or failure to issue other documents or perform other ministerial duties.
Well, in Kentucky, a clerk's signature is not needed on a marriage license. Under state statute, deputy clerks already have the authority to sign them.
Governor Beshear commented on Davis's case yesterday. He said that the judge's decision speaks for itself, and Davis's future is a matter between her and the courts. He also said again that he will not call a special legislative session because of it. Republican candidate for governor Matt Bevin responded to Governor Beshear's statement. He said the governor could have removed the names of county clerks from marriage licenses and kept Davis out of jail. Bevin says he would do that if he's elected, and he also says he supports Davis.
The idea that we would actually seriously think about imprisoning a county clerk who is standing on something that is constitutionally protected is unacceptable.
Democratic candidate Jack Conway would not talk on camera about Kim Davis yesterday. He did release a statement saying, quote, "I understand that passions are high on both sides of this issue, but we are a nation of laws and no one can defy an order from a federal judge."
Dozens of people attended a hearing in Lexington last night about a proposed regulation that would strengthen protections for surface water and groundwater. The government says the proposed stream protection rule would protect waterways from pollution caused by coal mining. But the coal industry argues the rules already in place are too strict, and new rules could lead to more coal layoffs.
We care about the environment, and we work hard to mine coal responsibly. But when regulations make it impossible from practical and economic perspectives to mine coal, something is wrong.
Put the burden for cleaning up a mine's mess on the company that owns it. I have witnessed the streams in Harlan County and others running orange from toxic waste.
4 more hearings are planned about the proposed rule.
Police say a third person has been arrested in connection to the murder of a Clay County man. The Clay County grand jury indicted 22-year-old Ashley Lawson on a complicity to commit murder charge. She is the ex-girlfriend of the victim, Trevor Dykes. Police say Dykes and Lawson had been involved in a custody dispute over their child. They say Thomas Miracle paid Roscoe Henson $5,000 to kill Dykes because of that custody dispute. Police charged Henson with murder and Miracle with solicitation to commit murder. The fire was so intense that it destroyed one home and it damaged others that were nearby. And this morning, Lexington firefighters say they are investigating an equipment malfunction that happened to them during the fire.
Firefighters were called to a home on Hibernia Pass near Blackford Parkway. This is near Hamburg. Early yesterday morning, they want to know now if the malfunction cost them valuable minutes. WKYT's Monique Blair has more.
I could feel the heat off of it. It was crazy.
It was a scary morning for many homeowners as a fire ripped through a home on Hibernia Pass, but it was also scary for the very people fighting that fire.
As they made the transition from the water carried in the tank to water from a hydrant, there was a pipe on the discharge side of the pump that failed.
Lexington Fire Assistant Chief Harold Hoskins says there were other engines at the fire that were able to take over and start suppressing the fire.
The question is, do you ever look at it? Well, sure, we look at things. We test the pumps regularly. We flow water. But to know when that is or predict when that would fail would be very difficult.
Now, this home behind me is a complete loss, but Assistant Chief Hoskins says it's hard to tell right now if this home could have been saved, even if that piece of equipment had not malfunctioned.
It's hard to say how much of that damage that was done to the houses around it, was it already done when we got there or not. I think it's reasonable to think that that period of time where we were out of water, we weren't able to flow water on the fire, there's probably some damage incurred, but there's no way to definitively say that.
Assistant Chief Hoskins says although it happens, it's rare for equipment to malfunction like it did Thursday morning, and the department will continue to investigate.
We're here to protect the public, both in their lives and their property.
In Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
And at this point, firefighters are still trying to figure out exactly what caused the fire. Well, a community honored a Franklin County teenager yesterday who died after a battle with encephalitis. Doctors diagnosed 16-year-old Bradley Kamick with the disease after he collapsed on a soccer field last month. On Wednesday, he died at Kentucky Children's Hospital. Kamick was a student and soccer player at Frankfort High School. The principal there says students and teachers are devastated.
It felt like the student body was almost in shock still today. The adults, the faculty were taking things really hard as well. We came together as a group this morning just to let them know that they weren't in this alone.
In a show support, students and staff at Franklin County and Western Hills High Schools wore blue and orange yesterday, which are Frankfort High School's colors. A balloon release in Bradley's honor is scheduled for this morning at 8:30 at the field there at the high school.
Sauer Field. Time this morning is 4:41, and WKYT this morning on your Friday. We're just getting started. A lot more is on the way.
A corn on the cob, a delicious staple this time of year. Mom's Every Day offers up some yummy ways to infuse more flavor into the dish after the break.
And a summer-like pattern is setting up across Kentucky. It has been the past couple of days. We're talking scattered storms and very warm temperatures. I'll have the latest in just a minute.